Ask the people who knew Himanshu Roy to describe him, and you'll often hear the same two words: strong yet gentle. He was a man the whole city knew by sight, 6 feet of quiet authority, the kind of presence that walked into a room and the room simply settled. He ran some of the hardest investigations this country has seen, and in the evenings, he could be found sitting among musicians, eyes closed, lost in a raga. Most people only ever saw one half of him. This film is about the whole man and about what was built so that the way he lived would not end with him. He was born in Kolaba in Purandare Hospital in South Mumbai in 1963, the son of a doctor in a city he never really left. He could have been a physician, but he chose to qualify instead as a chartered accountant. A stable life was already his for the taking, and yet he walked away from it, not out of restlessness but conviction. He wanted to serve the country. So in 1988, he joined the Indian Police Force. He didn't just wear the uniform, he became the kind of man it was made for. For more than 3 decades, he was one of the most recognized police officers in the country. When the IPL spot fixing scandal broke, it was his case. The Khairlanji killings, the NSCL scam, organized crime, and the long shadow of terror this city lived with once upon a time. He took on the work most people hoped would land on someone else's desk, and he followed the evidence wherever it went, without once asking who was standing at the other end of it. He was exact, he was fearless. He respected the hierarchies and the exigencies of a democracy and the hard work of politicians. He also understood the framework and boundaries of the law. But the officers who served under him remember a man beyond the uniform, beyond the service. He was their idol. And then there was the other half of him, the one people rarely saw. He loved music, not as a passing interest, but as a discipline of its own. Indian classical music was his deepest devotion. He studied the ragas, he organized concerts, he counted some of the country's finest musicians among his closest friends. Though on an ordinary evening, an old Kishore Kumar song could do just as well, or even a Neil Diamond classic. To him, this was never separate from the rest of his life, protecting a city and protecting the things that make a city worth living in: its music, its culture. He saw those as the same work. And then came the one fight that did not answer to discipline: cancer. Rare and aggressive, it had first appeared years earlier, and he had carried it the way he carried everything: quietly, without complaint, without letting it slow the life he had built. When it returned with force. Doctors measured what was left in months. He answered them in years. He sought treatment, he kept his routines as long as his body would allow. He met every stage of the illness with the same steadiness that had defined the rest of his life. In 2018, after a long and difficult fight, it came to an end. A loss like that can close a family in on itself. But instead, we got into a mission. Our father, his father in law, the scientist Tripathi, made a quiet promise that no other family should have to suffer what Himanshu had suffered. He turned that promise into work. The result was a breakthrough, a simple blood test designed to catch cancer at its earliest stage, long before it takes hold, while it can still be beaten relatively easily. Our father Tripathi gave the test his name, Himanshuda's name, attached now not to an ending but to a beginning. It came too late for him. It now carries hope for people he will never meet: the Himanshu Roy Cancer Test. The Himanshu Roy Foundation is not a memorial. It was not built to mourn a man. It was built to continue him. It stands on the three worlds that shaped his life: the people who keep this country safe, the people who heal, and the people who keep our music alive. And underneath all three, a single idea he lived by: that India is full of people of rare courage, compassion, and discipline, and that someone should be paying attention. Not a portrait on a wall, a way of living carried into the present. Every year, around his birthday in June, the foundation will present the Himanshu Roy Legacy Awards in the three fields that he lived by: national security, medicine, and Indian classical music. This is not about fame or connections or who the country may already know. This is about lives that carry the values that he did. People ask me if this is hard. It isn't. Grief is hard. This is something else. This is purpose. Every person we honor, every story we tell through these awards, that's him, still doing what he always did, still noticing, still showing up, still honoring the ordinary Indians who keep this great country of ours running.